record it on the cloud. All right, so welcome again to our orientation. All right, so let me just go through basically what exactly is Boston Institute of Natural Medicine. And there are no textbooks needed for our program, and I'll explain to you how that works. So Boston Institute of Natural Medicine's pedagogical model is based on an online collaborative learning environment that promotes peer-to-peer learning and utilizes open source technology along with open educational resources. What does all of that mean? So basically, our teaching model is based on what we call online collaborative learning. In other words, the internet is a university on its own, and that university supports all the learning styles out there. There are videos for those who are visual, there are audios for those who learn auditorily, and that there are manipulatives for those persons who learn through tactile interaction. And so basically what we do is seek to take advantage of that platform that is out there. And we basically will, one of the strategies that we'll use is we will feature videos that are out there. You know, learning is basically, a lot of time we don't have to reinvent the wheel. A lot of materials out there, it's a matter of structurally organizing it in a way so that the learning process is sequential and the learning process is one that is developmental. We basically do a lot of peer-to-peer learning. I don't believe so much in regurgitating. I don't believe so much in telling. I believe in guiding persons and helping persons to come to their own conclusion. So what I want persons to do is to be independent thinkers. Learning is learning herbs and natural healing is so wide that basically what you need is a blueprint. And of course, you're going to benefit from particular knowledge and particular experiences that persons will have. But the whole idea is not to put persons in a box. It's not to put healers in a box. My belief is that each of you will bring to the whole foray your unique personality, your unique insight, your unique interaction. And so that will make the whole experience a continuously evolving and developing experience. And so we utilize open source technology along with open educational resources. So we use a lot of videos, we use a lot of material that is out there. It's not considered to be copyright because we're not storing that information. We're basically allowing persons, providing persons with the link to view those information and then asking questions from that information. So basically, it's what we call open educational resources. A lot of videos that are out there, a lot of reading material that are out there, we feature that. And so because of the fact that there's so many information out there, we don't see the need to use textbook, which, you know, the educational system is a business. And so a lot of times, you know, the business has persons that needs to be get paid. And so sometimes they recommend textbooks that are not even necessary. One thing about textbook is that sometimes they even recommend textbook that the information becomes outdated. And so we don't follow that approach. We use open educational resources. And so because of that, the information is always cutting edge, it's always current, it's always you know, information that you can utilize. So the teaching, learning, research resources that are either in the public domain or are released under intellectual property license that permits their free use. They have a remarkable ability to reshape the way we approach education. OER can include everything from full courses to select modules, to textbooks, to video materials, software, tests, and more. These incredible reserves of openly accessible material have already been put to use in many colleges and universities and have even become the basis for new educational models. And so what we're doing is not new. A lot of universities, a lot of colleges now recognize and realize that there's a lot of content out there that is current, that is up to date. And so a lot of universities and colleges are opting to using this model to ensure that students get the latest information. We live in a time and we live in an era where information is changing at a rapid pace. And so the difference between last week and last year can mean so much as it relates to the information that you receive. We use a platform to deliver that information. It's called Moodle, and you're going to go into that. So Moodle is a learning management system providing a platform for e-learning, and it helps the various educators considerably in conceptualizing the various courses, course structures, and curriculum, thus facilitating interaction with online students. So we're going to go into Moodle, but Moodle is what we call a learning management system. So it allows me and it allows persons who want to teach to be able to organize the content in any way conceivable. Literally, anything that you can think about and anything that you can do, Moodle as a platform allows a facilitator to do just that. And so what does the platform look like? So our class week runs from Sunday 12:59 a.m. to Sunday 12:59 a.m. So it's from Sunday to Sunday. All activities become overdue and cannot be submitted at that time. So after 12, at 1 o'clock, 1 a.m., any activity that we have to submit cannot be submitted. So the class runs from Sunday, and this class starts on January 30th. That's next week, Sunday. All right, and the class will become open, and I'm going to go into one of those classes and show you what exactly the class looks like. If you check your WhatsApp, then you will see that I have sent you a message, and that message basically is your student login information, and you're going to need that in order to log into the student portal. All right, so this is an example, brief example. Unit 2, explore the contributions of well-known herbalists from Jamaica and the Caribbean. So this is just an example of what a class would look like. This is a Unit 2. And some persons say that we look at content that is not relevant to herbs, but I'll explain to you why we cover some of the topics that we cover. So each lesson has what is called a learning guide, and the learning guide helps you to understand what is expected, what you need to focus on. So for example, this learning guide, welcome to Unit 1, exploring the contributions of well-known herbalists from Jamaica and the Caribbean. At the end of this unit, students should be able to have insights into the parentage of Mary C. Cole, have knowledge of Mary C. Cole's mother, vocation, as well as her contribution as it relates to using herbal medicine to treat tropical diseases prevalent at that time. Students should gain insights into some of the herbs and herbal compounds used by Mary C. Cole, as well as their application in healing tropical diseases at that time. The students should be able to identify Mary C. Cole's method of healthcare delivery, as well as be able to identify the contrast between the healthcare delivery of Mary C. Cole and Florence Nightingale, another female contemporary that lived during the same era. Students should also gain insights into how sexism, racism, and jealousy conspired to obscure the work and contributions of Jamaica and the Caribbean's most influential female herbal healer. And so, for example, this particular course, persons would say, well, they don't see how it directly contributes to learning herbs learning how to use herbs, exploring the contributions of well-known herbalists from Jamaica and the Caribbean. And one of the things that I wanted to focus on is the fact that Jamaica and the Caribbean has contributed significantly to the world scene as it relates to health. Mary C. Cole at the time made a significant contribution as it relates to epidemic that was present at the time. And it's important for us to understand that natural medicine has contributed significantly, because the world and modern science would want us to think that natural medicine is, as they call it, alternative medicine, has done nothing significant. We need to understand that there are traditional healers who have contributed significantly and who are still contributing significantly. And so we need to understand that we shouldn't see ourselves as alternative practitioners, even though that's what we are referred to, because it affects our psyche and it affects how we approach healing. Because if we consider ourselves to be the alternative, then it suggests that the Western medicine that is being promoted is the proper medicine, and we the alternative should be sought after the proper, basically, is explored. Right? So we need to understand that natural medicine has its position. And so one of the things that we do is to feature this particular healer, and I love her because I believe that more women need to come into the practice of natural medicine. More women need to understand their role and function as natural healers. I as a practitioner, see the big difference in how my wife practices. She practices with more intuition. She practices with more empathy. I mean, it is just totally different. And so women are natural healers, and my goal is to inspire more women to take up the challenge of becoming, what I call practitioners of traditional Caribbean medicine. As a matter of fact, after looking at Mary C. Cole in the first batch, one of our students basically coined the term, because we believe that it is full time, it's high time that Jamaica and the Caribbean begin to have their form of medicine. So after doing this course, the goal is for you to refer to yourself as a practitioner of traditional Caribbean medicine. We want that to be formal, just like what the Chinese have traditional Caribbean medicine. They have that, they own that. It's unique to them. There's so much knowledge, a body of knowledge that they keep among themselves. My goal is to basically be the genesis, but it is to see you guys who are practicing, as you get your own insight, as you get your own personal convictions and experience, that you will continue to add to that body of knowledge, and that body of knowledge will be there as a legacy to benefit generations to generation. And so there are learning guides. Then you're going to have what is called a viewing assignment. A viewing assignment is maybe a video, or it may be an article that you will read. But what we try to do is to incorporate different and support the different types of learning styles out there. So one of the errors of our generation is a lack of respect for the work of our ancestors, as well as our failure to document their wisdom of herbal medicine. In this unit, we celebrate the life and work of those ancestors. In doing so, we explore the life and work of one of Jamaica's most celebrated herbal practitioners. What is significant is the fact that she's a Black woman defeating the odds. We look at the life of Mary C. Cole. And so when you do this particular course, you are going to see the amount of politics, the amount of sexism, the amount of undermining that goes in our form of medicine, even though it has proven to be effective. Our medicine has been suppressed intentionally. It is not accidental. The medicine that we practice in Jamaica and the Caribbean has been purposely, it has been intentionally suppressed. And I believe that it is the ancestors and the Most High is reaching out to us now, especially in this time of the pandemic. I've never seen a time before where so many children and grandchildren of natural healers are being tugged in their spirit, are being pushed in their spirit to hone and to accept that part of them that has been passed on to them genetically. And so there are viewing assignments. That's one of the tools that we use to get the material out. Then there are instructions. this example of instruction, write an essay of at least 300 words. No, on how important it is for women to learn and practice herbal medicine. Now, I know that there are persons doing this course from different backgrounds. There are persons doing this course from different backgrounds. As much as is possible, we would have preferred persons to have a college education, some from a medical background, but really and truly, it's not mandatory for students to have that. So we do recognize that persons may not come with those skill sets, but one of the things that we have recognized, that I've recognized, is that for the herbal industry in Jamaica to be developed, we are going to need content creators. We are going to need persons who write. And so I don't know who that person is. And so I believe that we need to teach that skill set, how to write an essay and how to properly do citations and so on. So there are specific instructions as to how we will want the paper to be done. And that is just to introduce persons if they've never done it before in their life. That is just to introduce persons to how to write an article. And this becomes especially useful if you're going to have a website. If you're going to have a website and if you're going to create content for your website, you must know how to create content for your website. If we're going to allow Jamaican and Caribbean herbs to be known, we're going to need persons to do research. We're going to need to see more articles featuring more herbs in order for Jamaican herbs to become knowledgeable and to become respected. We're going to need to have persons who are content creators. And so I spoke earlier about the 5 different industries that I saw, that I've been through, and that I believe are important for Jamaican and Caribbean, the herb industry to develop. And those are herb harvesting. So I harvest herbs myself, and there's going to be a component in this course that teach person how to harvest herbs properly. They just spoke about a relative who was harvesting herb for her. Sometimes you may not harvest the herb for yourself, but you need to be knowledgeable to know if the person is harvesting the herb properly. All right. So herb harvesters, there are some persons who are gifted and who may be called just to become herb harvesters. That's okay. There are persons who formulate. So I do formulate, and there are some persons who may just want to formulate. They don't want to harvest herb. They don't feel that passion. They may not be in a part of the world where they're able to. But I want to ensure that herb harvesting is included in the training. I want to ensure that the knowledge as to how to formulate is included in the course. And right, so I write articles because in order to get the knowledge out there, in order to provide my audience with knowledge as it relates to herb, and I can tell you, when we go further in the course, I'll explain to you how this becomes important. But it was very important to be able to write articles for herbs. And so I've done that. But as I said, as the business grew, I had to outsource herb harvesting. Of course, I had to train those persons. I do formulation. And as the business grows, now I have to train persons to do formulations. As the business grows, I have to train persons to write articles. So all of these things that I used to do when the business was small, I have to now outsource them. And so these are skill sets that I believe are essential to everybody and anybody who is going to be a practitioner of traditional Caribbean medicine. It's good to have the knowledge and not use it than to want the knowledge and not have it. That's how I'm looking at it, all right? And so I talk about the persons who harvest the herbs, the persons who do formulations, the persons who write the articles, the persons who do the consultation. Of course, that's not where the bulk of my work is, because as you gather experience, you're going to spend a lot of times doing consultation, talking to persons, working with persons. And for some persons, of course, that may just be where their focus is on. There are some persons who may not want to write articles, who may not want to do formulations, who may just be called to do consultations. And so that training is included in this program. And then the 5th area is dispensing. All right, and dispensing, for some persons, they may not understand. Dispensing is very important, especially if you're going to work with persons who are going to be taking allopathic drugs, allopathic medications. And so dispensing is a key area. And again, because we're trying to develop an industry, there are persons who may just choose to work in any one of these particular areas. But if you're going to become a practitioner, I believe it's beneficial to have the knowledge. And so, with that being said, it means that there are courses and that there are units that you will be exposed to that you may say, oh, but that won't directly contribute to healing somebody. But as I said, as you grow, you are going to see how all of this ties in and why I have included them. All right. So these are just instructions, guidelines that you will get in the course. And I said in a little while, we're going to go into that. There are going to be group discussions. All right. So do you think that, shall we have group discussion because this is not being done in a physical setting. So the course is offered in a way to encourage group discussion among students, peer reviews, all of that is a part of it. And of course, there are going to be quiz. So all the weekly activities will feature these components, all right? Doing assignments, articles, discussion, quizzes. It will involve some of these, and you will have one whole week to go through the material and to submit this, all right? So let me now go into,
Just a question, Ben.
Yes, go ahead.
So you say now you give us the classes during
And
the week.
you have to talk a little louder, we're not hearing you.
No, you said you give us the class during the week, and we have to submit them on a Sunday.
Not hearing Ben.
We're not hearing you, Mel.
No, I'm saying that classes we have to you give us the class during the week, and we submit them on a Sunday.
Yes, yes. All right, so right, that's exactly what I'm saying. So let me go to what the class will look like. Good. Let me go to what a class will look like. All right, so I bring this up. Have you seen the link in your WhatsApp?
Yes, Ben. I saw what you had sent.
All right, good. So let me just bring this up. And let's go there. So all right, so when you click the link, let's click on the link for me, please. All right, and you click on the link.
You're asking us to do that now? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, you can't do it? If you can't do it, then
I'm on
that's
the
why.
phone.
All
No, it's
right,
because
okay,
I'm on
fine.
the phone, that's why.
All right, good. All right, that's why we're recording, so you can watch the video after. All right, so when you click on the link, it's going to take you to our student portal page. So what the student portal page looks like. Once you are here at the student portal page, you're going to scroll to the bottom of the page and you're going to hit this button here that says Access Portal. When you hit that button, it's going to take you to the access, or let me log out. Let me log out so you see where it takes you to. Oh.
This phone is giving me problems.
No, it's okay. You can just, so it's going to take you to this page.
Okay.
And when it takes you here, you're going to enter the username and password that was sent to you. The username, when you try to access the site a second time, the password will not work. It's going to prompt you to change the password to your unique or your personal password. Once you put in the username and password and hit login, it's going to bring you to the dashboard. And so that's going to bring you here. We have a number of other courses, but the one that you're doing is the Diploma in Traditional Caribbean Medicine. So you're going to click on that. And once you click on that, it's going to take you to, so these are all the lessons, but they are not turned on, they are turned off. Good? They are turned off. Only current lesson will be turned on. So the first lesson is January 30th, and it finishes on February 7th. So once you click on that, it's going to take you to the lesson. All right. And this particular lesson, what you will do is this is a learning guide. So you can click on the learning guide and it explains to you what is expected. Then there's a reading assignment, and you would click on the reading assignment, and there's a discussion forum, and then there's a quiz. So that's basically it. So there's a reading assignment. When you click on the reading assignment. All right. So it says, please read the following article. So you just click on the article and it brings you there. And write at least a 250-word essay, no more than 450 words, on how understanding the different traditional medicine forms help you to understand their contribution to modern medicine. Your paper should be written based on the APA format. I should have shown you that the APA format is an article that explains what is the APA format. The article should identify at least 3 cultures where traditional medicine has been documented to be the primary means of healthcare. It should identify at least 5 major forms of traditional medicines by name as well as their culture of origin. The article should describe at least 5 characteristics of theory for the 5 major forms of traditional medicine. In other words, when you look at the article, because there are outside of Ayurvedic, outside of traditional Chinese medicines, there are other forms of natural medicine. And what we want you, the reader, to do, is, the practitioner to do, is to be familiar with the fact that traditional medicine is formally practiced in a number of cultures. That what we're trying to do in Jamaica by organizing our form of traditional medicine is that we're not trying to do something that is unique to us. Traditional medicine is recognized around the world. The World Health Organization recognizes it. There are 70%, up to 80% of some country, the population of some country rely on it as the only form of medicine. It is only in countries like Jamaica and other parts of the Western world where we treat traditional medicine as if it is alternative medicine and don't give it the respect that it deserves. And so this first class is basically designed to allow students to have an appreciation of traditional medicine and different forms of traditional medicines. And it's important. Each traditional medicine has what is called a herba medica, or it has herbs that is used more in that form than it is in other forms. Even in Jamaica, we have subcultures because, for example, the tanos, the herbs, even though all of the herbs grow in Jamaica, the herbs that the Tainos use and the Arawaks use is not different, but I should word it differently. The Tainos, for example, use some herbs more than the Maroons would use. And so just by looking at certain herbs, herbal formulation, it is possible for you to say, oh, this is a Taino formulation. Oh, this is an Arawak formulation. Oh, this is a Mexican formulation. This is a Cuban formulation. Because every part of the Caribbean and even subcultures within those countries use some herbs more than how they use other herbs. And in the same way, you're able to identify Ayurvedic formulations, traditional Chinese formulation, and so on and so forth. So this first lesson is basically designed to expose you to the other formal forms of traditional medicines to help us to appreciate the fact and the reason why we as a Caribbean people need our own. When we go into the second lesson, which is, let's go back to the front page. When we go back to the second lesson, and we start to go more in depth, we begin to understand, exploring the contribution of well-known herbalists in Jamaica. Not that one. Herbalism and its practice in Jamaica and the Caribbean. I'm telling you, it helps us to understand why Jamaica and the Caribbean has a unique form of medicine that we can offer. We're going to understand that Jamaica, the medicine of Jamaica, just like how they say, out of many one people, that is not just true of the ethnicity, but that also includes the herbal practice. So of course, Jamaican and Caribbean medicine, traditional Caribbean medicine, would be a blend of the Spaniards, it would be a blend of the Arawaks, it would be a blend of the Tainos, it would be a blend of the Africans and the different parts of Africa. So basically, we have something that is unique, and we have something that is corresponding to our people and the needs of our people. So the Spanish and I mean, there's just so much for you to learn. One of the things you're going to learn is that herbs grow, and the needs of herbs are unique to the people that are in that particular geography. So those are some of the things you're gonna be exposed to. So once you go in every week, one of these lessons will become highlighted. And once it becomes highlighted, then you will be able to go into that lesson and actually access it. All right. So let me just start this and then take some questions from persons. Any questions? No questions? Everybody understand?
Yeah, we understand. Well, as for me, I understand. So cannot speak for the others, but I understand.
All right, DJ, you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, all right, beautiful. So that's basically, so as I said, I've taken out a lot of the content. I've gone through and I've taken out a lot of the content, and I've pushed it for further classes. I want to build on the knowledge going into. So this first course is going to focus a lot on herbs, but as a healer, I work with a lot of other modalities outside of just herbs itself. And right behind it over there, you'll see that device, for example, that device, that's called an ozone machine. And we work with a lot of machine. It's not a machine that I work with. And I'm going to train you how to use this. Right. You know this?
No, what's that?
All right, so I do what is called quantum medicine. So this machine allows me And this is one thing that makes my practice so amazing.
Spell that. Sorry, Ben. Phantom as in
quantum.
PHA.
Quantum.
Quantum. Okay.
Yeah. So it's quantum medicine. So I'm able to see persons for the first time, and they don't have to tell me a thing. They don't have to tell me what's wrong with them.
Oh, okay.
I can use this machine and tell you everything that's happening. It does about 33 different assessments. And so that's one of the reasons why we have so much clients. We have clients from all over the world. We have from medical doctors to nurses. Right now I'm in Port Antonio, Portland. We have so many clients from the health center, all different government agencies. Most of the medical doctors in and around here refer a lot of clients to us, because once I put you on this machine, in less than a minute, I can tell you what's wrong from, eye, skin, you name it. So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to be teaching you to do in this course as well.
1 minute. Do you also teach how to read this CBC blood chart?
Not in this course. Not that one. And as I said, there's a lot of machines that we use. We do. We're not going to be doing a lot of hydrotherapy. We're not going to be doing some. I had it in the first time, but it was too overwhelming because the time wouldn't allow me to go through it. So what I'm going to be doing in this course is we're going to be going through the systems of the body. We're going to be going through it. We're going to be spending a lot of time on the herbs, how to use them, and then we're going to have another course down the road where it's more advanced, where we are going to know, you need some experience, working with people. And then we're going to immerse you now into the different tools that we use. For example, I was talking about this particular machine, that one machine that you see over there. We use it, it's called an ozone machine. And as I said, we work with a lot of persons with cancer. And this machine does amazing work as it relates to breast cancer, as it relates to all types of tumors. And we have a couple more machines that we use. We have saunas, infrared saunas. We have cavitation machine. We have that we use to burn like fat, belly fat and all those. So I work with a whole lot of other machines, but I'm just gonna keep it simple this time around. And I want persons to be grounded in the science. I want persons to be grounded in being able to identify herbs, being able to formulate herbs into different forms, tinctures, capsules, salves, ointments, all of those. We want to have persons packed down with that knowledge. And when you have that under your belt, because remember, my approach to teaching is not to say, do it like how I did it. No, my approach is to give you the blueprint and then show you that, this is my take on it. And so you can now go out there, be creative, be inspired, and do what you feel led in your spirit to do, because that's what healing is about. We are mediums. We don't want to be boxed in. And my good friend, Dr. Sebi, I love his work, but one of the challenges that I had about his approach is that it creates a box. His approach to teaching is a box approach. So for example, let me give an example. Rather than looking at, for example, Matico, which we call Cardancilla negro, rather than looking at the properties of the herb, he teaches that particular herb. So you'll have people calling and also say, oh, I want that particular herb, I want that particular herb. But there are many herbs that functions like it. So rather than teaching just that herb, what we need to teach is the characteristic of the herb so that the student is able to do substitution. Because he was trained by practitioners from Mexico. His perspective and his take was a unique conclusion from the different teachers that he had. So what we don't want is he became the product of many teachers, and we don't want to duplicate Dr. Sebi. We want to build on the knowledge of Dr. Sebi, and we want to become the next the next Melbourne Mego, the next Sharon Webster, the next Deja Spence. So rather than duplicating Dr. Sebi and trying to be like Dr. Sebi, you know, Deja Spence, people talk about Deja Spence and her perspective and her unique insights. So we want to take what he had, the body of knowledge that he had, the insight that he had, and we want to build on it. So my approach is to see persons not being boxed in. So I think that, you know, we've had a lot of, you know, a lot of benefit from him, but diseases evolve, people evolve. What he worked with and the things that, the conditions that he was working with at the time, it's going to evolve. And so we are going to need leaders and healers who will evolve and who will build on that knowledge. So what we need is, I believe in teaching the blueprint. I believe in teaching the guideline for persons to build on what they have. So that is my approach. And I have another healer that I want to expose you to, because in this whole process for this class, I will, and so we offer that the content during the week, but every Sunday night, we meet like this and we discuss the content and we go through the content. And what I want to do, because this is called traditional Caribbean medicine, I want to call on some of the persons that I know. I want to call on Vigaton. I want him to be a guest one of the evening to talk about him. We don't want to talk about him and his work, but we want to showcase other natural healers. Mrs. Dr. Sebi, good friend of mine. We want to talk to her, get her insight. We want to talk to people like a very good Sunfire Foods. He's coming to Jamaica. Jamaica and the Caribbean has so many natural healers that we know need to celebrate and respect and pay homage to, as we allow ourselves as a people to benefit. In the last 50 years, we have not given our natural healers the respect that they deserve, and we have allowed so many of them to die with the knowledge. That stops right now. That stops with us as we create a traditional Caribbean practitioners. One of what we want to do is pay homage and respect to those forerunners who were before us and those tycoons. I don't put, you know, some of the people that Dr. Sebi learned from never went to school. Dr. Sebi himself will tell you, because that puts you in a box. The way you think, the way you process information, it puts you in a box. And so I've gone through, I've traveled across Jamaica. I've been to Moortown. I've been to all parts of Jamaica. I've sat and I've learned from some of the most knowledgeable healers that are not known. I'll give you an example. I don't know a lot about vines, because one thing you will learn about maroon herb, maroon medicine, which is a sub-practice in Jamaica. Maroon, what we call herba medica, consists a lot of vines, barks, and roots. It consists of a lot of vines, barks, and roots. Vine, barks, and roots are medicines that help persons with nerve problem and muscle problem and bone problem. Muscle problem, nerve problem, and bone problem are the problems that you will find facing people who live at high altitude in the hills. So you will find them being very good at those herbs, and those herbs tend to be tonics and they tend to be adaptogens. And so that is the type of medicine that those persons will need to have the vitality, to have the mental, you know, the agility, the ability to function in that terrain. Now, the thing about maroon herbs is that most persons who live on low elevation will not know those herbs, because most of those herbs are only found in abundance at high altitude. So as a practitioner, in order for me to expand my knowledge, I have to leave my low elevation to go into the hills to learn the bull whisk, to learn the black whisk, to learn the sarsaparilla and the chainy root. All of these herbs, you don't find them at low elevations. They grow in the hills. And I remember when I visited the hills, and I started to say, because I don't just enjoy knowing herbs in the dry form or in the powder form or in the store. My goal is to be able to identify these herbs in the natural habitat, in their green form. And when I went into the hills, I was like a student. I was like, completely a novice as I sat and listened to these bushmen explain the vines and what they look like. So at some point of the journey, we are teachers, and at some point of the journey, we are students. So while I'm learning from them and they're explaining what the herb looks like and where it is grown. And I should also say that there are herbs in Jamaica that don't grow where humans live, sorry. There are herbs in Jamaica that don't grow where human beings travel or traverse. One herb that comes to my mind is what is the herb this called? Cinnamon, wild cinnamon. As long as you live, you won't see a wild cinnamon. In order for you to see a wild cinnamon, you have to travel miles into the hills. And wild cinnamon is a herb that has a very high value because, for example, in the Maroon culture, when they go to hunt wild hogs and they can't find wild hogs, to compensate for the journey, which would last sometimes 3-4 days into the deep hills, in order to compensate, to pay for that trip because they didn't find the wild hogs, they would come back with wild cinnamon. And I've heard story of them coming back through the Blue Mountains with wild cinnamon, and because of the temperature, the rain would fall. And once the rain falls and touches that wild cinnamon, you have to leave it and come down, because once the water touches the wild cinnamon and that wild cinnamon begins to touch your skin, I'm telling you, it's not a walk in the park. There are herbs like bogum. This is a herb that the wild pigs would eat whenever they were hunted and injured. If a wild pig escapes being injured, once the wild hog finds a tree, they are not going to die, they are going to live. And I've used that gum recently on a client with a tumor on her breast, and it's just amazing. So the herba medica in the Maroons is very different from the herba medica in the lower parts of Jamaica. The herba medica, if you travel to Jamaica, some parts of Jamaica where it is hot, they'll use a lot of herbs that bring cold into the body. So just for you to understand that we have something unique. There is St. Thomas. There are herbs that grow in St. Thomas that almost don't grow anywhere else in Jamaica. So as I said, that we need to understand and respect. And so part of what I'm seeking to do on these Sundays will be to get, as we discuss the content, is also to get local indigenous practitioners to come on this platform, to talk about themselves, to talk about what they do, and for you students to question them and to learn and to get insights from them, because never ever look at somebody and say, oh, that person didn't go to university, that person doesn't have a degree in biology, that person, no. Some of the greatest healers never went through any formal school. We have to understand and begin to understand that education is very different from how Westerners define it. These are persons who have experience with using particular herbs and using particular practices for hundreds of years, going back, right back home to Africa, right back home to Spain, right back home to Cuba, right back home. So as a traditional practitioner, we have to understand that traditional Caribbean medicine is a melting pot of different herbs, different cultures and different practices. And so as I advocate this form of medicine, and as you, some of the first students and the first practitioners of this form of medicine, traditional Caribbean medicine, as you embark on this journey, we have to begin that journey by, first of all, respecting it and respecting those persons who paved the way for us.
Sounds excellent. Sounds, wonderful. I like that. That's what we it's about time we do such thing like that. Honor our ancestors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
about that, yeah.
All right. So that is basic. Go
Can I
ahead.
ask just one question, Dr. Ben? Does the Institute of Jamaica have much material on this? Are you aware?
No, one of the person that I work with now is Dr. Picking, and he has done a lot of work in terms of documenting as much as he can, working with a number of um, local practitioners, Evelyn Harris, who lives just right up the road from me. But for some reason, they haven't done a lot. They haven't done nowhere near enough to document the knowledge and to document the practices. We talk about the food. Mrs. Louise Bennett has done an excellent job on promoting the language, but we haven't done nowhere near enough to promote the healing practices. That's where my passion is.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, promoting the healing practices of Jamaica, Jamaican and Caribbean medicine. That's where my passion is. And my goal is to see persons like Deja in the diaspora, many more Dejas in the diaspora, owning, accepting, and practicing, and seeing this develop as an alternative means of income. A lot of the persons who are involved in farming, I talk about one place in Clarendon that I went to, and I didn't even know at the time that this particular herb grew here in Jamaica. It's a herb called English plantain. I knew it because, at that time I was, I studied American herbs and, just getting my foot wet and crossing over to Jamaican herbs. And I found out that a lot of the American herbs are also here in Jamaica by different names. And I remember going on this farm and I saw this herb in abundance. And I remembered that I just saw the price recently on a website at the time, something like $50-something US per pound. And I saw these farmers weeding it out to plant carrots. And I was saying, I wonder if you guys know that this herb is far more expensive than the carrot that you're trying to plant. So I'm saying that there are many farmers who have land with a lot of valuable herbs on it that they're trying to get rid of to put in something that is far less inferior in value and in benefit. So my goal is to see many Jamaicans transitioning into reaping and in some instances planting herbs as we develop a robust industry. That's part of my vision. That's where I want to go. So for me, I want to do my part in training as many persons as is possible to be able to utilize those herbs, and to develop the different subsectors. Those persons who will specialize in content creation, those persons who will specialize in just harvesting, those persons who go on to consultation, and every part of what I'm saying can be developed. There are some persons who may just choose to use a format like this and work with persons across the globe, just do consultations. There are persons who may just want to harvest. There are persons who may just want to formulate. These 5 areas that I've identified are areas that can create a whole lot of employment opportunities. All right. So that is the reason why the course, when you're doing the course, I say, why Dr. Ben asking me to doing so much writing? Why does he want me to write it this way and to do it that particular way? It is because I want you to harness that skill set. You may not use it, but it's better for you to have it and not use it than for you to need it and not have it. All right. So I promise you, I won't make all the courses will not be the same way. Just a series of lessons will have the writing and the citations and so on. And after you finish that, and we see that, well, you understand it enough, then you won't see it again. We move on to other things. All right. There's going to be an intern session for those persons who are abroad. We'll work it out for Deja and others. We have some more students, a couple more students who are waiting on this batch to catch up with them, so that we can continue. So at some point, we don't want it to be too big, but we want it to be a certain size so that some gelling and something can go on there. So, but that's basically what there is to expect in doing this course. And when you're doing something, please bear with me. Sometimes the classes are gonna be on a Sunday, so I'm gonna be doing it right here. But sometimes, and I'm gonna be upfront with you. I wanted an admin. I don't have an admin, so I'm gonna have to be the admin for this program. My wife may help me out, so it's I have a lot on my plate, but I'm gonna do my best because my priority is not even so much treating or doing work with my goal. My goal is to see more persons. I was hoping that I would get some students from Montego Bay and other parts of Jamaica, because if I had students who were willing to do this and finish this, almost at the end of finishing, I could help them. I don't want to make any promises, but I could help so many of them to transition into something for themselves where they could start working. We have a model that would help so many of them, because I've had clinics in so many parts of Jamaica, and because I'm no longer in those areas are suffering. They have to travel to Portland or St. Thomas or Kingston, and I really would want to be able to have tentacles in these areas to continue to offer help to them. But it is what it is. Hopefully, when we do get this program more known, we will have more persons wanting to do it, especially young people wanting to do it. All right. So, if there aren't any more questions before we close off this session, guys.
Well, Mary, C-Code, where I go to watch that? I type it on YouTube or
Yeah, but as I said, when we reach that lesson, it's going to be in the course. The video is going to be in the course, so you'll be able to go through that in a timely way. All right. All right. So thank you, guys.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is a normal time, though.
7 o'clock is a normal time, and I don't know. We'll go on hopefully for an hour, but I'm gonna have guests. I'm gonna be trying to get guests to come on because I want to showcase the different persons out there. So Mel, if you have a number for Vigaton, I'd love to have it to talk to them. I know a couple of healers, and the goal is really to really
just Spence.
Huh?
No, I'm saying hi to Diaja Spence. My daughter name is Diaja.
Oh.
Diaja Megu, and her name is Diaja. Diaja.
Daja Spence. Or Deja. How do you pronounce it?
It's Deja.
Deja.
Yes.
Diaja, you need an A.
All right.
Put an A because I always like the word, like my nickname is Jaburn, Selburn, and things like that. So I named her Diaja.
Diaja.
I have H in it. Yeah.
All right, guys. So,
amazing when I see your name. So I said I had to really comment on it, while I was waiting to the last.
Okay. All right. So thank you guys for being on this session. It was really nice. I think we're off to a good start. And I'm hoping to see you guys next week, Sunday. So next week, Sunday, I'm gonna come on for about 10-15 minutes. Not for long for that class because it starts. So I'll just ensure that everybody has access So I want you guys to go ahead and try to log into the student portal. If you have any issues, just reach out to let me know, and so I can
Okay.
make the correction. All right. So thank you again for logging on, and have a wonderful evening, and see you next week.
Thank
1
you.
minute.
All right. Walk good, everybody.
iPod.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye bye. Just reach out to me, Mego. Reach out to me.
All right. All right, yeah.